I have selected the two amendments to the motion. If Amendment 1 is agreed, Amendment 2 will be deselected. I call on Caroline Jones to move Amendment 1, tabled in the name of Neil Hamilton. Caroline Jones.
Diolch, Llywydd. I'd like to move the amendment tabled by my colleague Neil Hamilton. UKIP tabled Amendment 1 to highlight the situation we find ourselves in with regard to the Welsh economy. Both the Conservatives and Labour blame each other for the dire economic situation in Wales, when in fact they are both to blame. Labour have been in charge of Welsh economic development for nearly 20 years, but failed to improve our economic performance. The inept handling of EU structural funds saw the downfall of Wales' first Secretary. Unfortunately, lessons weren't learned from this, and as a result, billions of pounds were wasted and failed to improve our economic fortunes. Objective 1 funding was supposed to be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to improve Wales' economy. It's a damning indictment of successive Welsh Labour governments, propped up by other governments, that Wales continued to qualify for EU funding. Labour's first economic strategy promised to close the GDP gap with the rest of the UK. They even set a target of 90% of UK GDP by 2010. Not only did we not achieve that growth, our economy went backwards. The target became an inspiration and became history when it was quietly dropped. Various Labour ministers now blame the Tory UK government for Wales' poverty. But during the first decade of this Assembly, we had a Labour government and a Chancellor who believed in massive borrowing and spending, and in that time our economy went backwards. We do now have a Tory UK government who have massively curbed public spending because of the fiscal mess left behind by Gordon Brown. However, they are also partially responsible for the mess we find ourselves in. Since 2010, the UK government have saddled our economy with more debt. Yes, debt used to fund she was.
It's called evolution.
She was. That's why she left. Debt used to fund vanity projects like HS2, which will cost the UK taxpayer over £70 billion and has been monumentally mismanaged. The row surrounding outgoing staff being overpaid by nearly £2 million, just the latest in a catalogue of waste, which has seen the cost more than double, and some reports suggest it could triple the initial cost by the time it's completed. Debt used to fund an out-of-control overseas aid budget, which now stands at over £12 billion. In the last few days, no. This is fact. This is fact. In the last few days, we learnt of a project. Which is supposed to deliver wells, water pumps and irrigation across southern Africa. Yet nearly 70% of that funding did not go to the people it was supposed to reach. It went on consultancy fees, with staff being paid £600 per day. How can we justify a foreign aid budget where the top beneficiary, Pakistan, spends over £2 billion a year on nuclear weapons, and the 10th largest beneficiary, India, spends £1 billion on a space programme? Come on, let's get it right. We must use overseas aid to benefit the people who really need this aid, and it's not getting there. Yes, I will, David.
I'm not sure whether you're arguing for the aid budget to be used in a different way, or whether you want to cut the aid budget, because your colleague sat next to you often tells us how you'd like that part of of the UK's budget to be cut dramatically.
Yeah, but it's been in the paper, David, and on the news that your party also wants to cut it.
No.
The UK government must stop wasting the taxes of hard-working taxpayers and instead concentrate on ensuring large multinationals pay their fair share. They should scrap HS2 and invest in infrastructure projects that truly benefit the UK, such as ultra-fast broadband and universal mobile coverage. The Welsh Government need to learn from past mistakes. They need to deliver a long-term economic policy designed around a low-tax economy and more proportionate business regulation, rather than pursuing an anti-business agenda. Every person in Wales, and indeed the UK, has a basic right and a human right to have a roof over their head, and this is not the case, and this is what I will fight to change. Both governments must work together for the sake and benefit of Wales, rather than continue to blame each other and do nothing about it. You are both to blame, and you both have the tools to fix our economy, and it's time you put the people of Wales before party politics.